In the headlines tonight, President Zode says football can be a strong tool to work for a united. Good evening to you all. Very warm welcome to ETV News. I am Grum Tariku. Ethiopia has finalized preparation to host the East African Culture and Art Festival from June 14 to 18, 2022. Minister of Culture and Sports has consulted with all stakeholders on the preparations underway ahead of the festival in the presence of Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Demeke Mekonnen. In his opening remark, Demeke highlighted the significance of the festival in promoting peace, fostering shared cultural values, and enhancing people-to-people relations in countries of the region, saying that the people of the region are interlinked with racial background, culture, history, and future destiny. The Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister stressed need to reshape image of the region through concerted efforts such as live culture and art festivals. Culture and art festivals have a power to shape image of the region, which is marred by conflict and drought, he stressed, saying Ethiopia has put greater importance for relationship with neighboring countries. Demeke stressed need to consolidate efforts in the culture diplomacy sector. To this effect, Demeke underlined calling for continued efforts to enhance people-to-people ties in the region to better utilize culture, history, and natural resources for mutual benefits. Continental and regional cooperation is said to be critical to counter undue pressure from foreign forces in the West. Talking to ETV English, political science and international relations expert Ataqilti Atnafu said strengthening African traditions and institutions is a step to the right direction to build democratization in the continent. Habtam Ashagri has compiled the following story.
The fragile political relations among African countries have resulted in complicated socio-economic and political environment in the continent. Worse still, undue intervention in the Horn region by the West is leading to deteriorating the socio-economic as well as political well-being in Africa. The Horn of African region has experienced a substantial increase in the number and size of foreign military deployments since 2001, especially in the past decades. Regional and international security actors are currently operating in the Horn and the foreign military installations, including land-based facilities among others. Talking to ETV English, analyst of political science and international relations Ataqilti Atnafu said, empowering African institutions is a critical step to cement the democratization process.
Human rights issue is a universal issue. Of course, they have a human rights concern in the region. If they have a human rights concern in the region, the only way that can bring the human rights issues for whether for the region or the USA, awareing the community, awareing the political system, awareing civil society, it will be the right solution. Despite propagating, disseminating wrong information and intervening in wrongly and sanctioning with an intention of their own interest, that will abuse, that will challenge the long-run diplomacy of both countries.
He underscored that the concept of human rights and democracy is not only concern of some Westerners, but rather the concern of other developing economies too. He urged African nations in the Horn to bolster their cooperation by strengthening domestic politics.
The African country, especially Horn of Africa, they should have internal strengths for domestic politics, especially nationalism is there, terrorism also there, unemployment also there, immigration also there. So they should control those internal affairs before intervening and engaging for superpower agenda. Superpower countries, they have their own project, investment.
The Western development approach and the concept of democracy toward African status need to be seriously examined, he stressed. Superpowers have been harboring hidden agendas under the guise of human rights and democracy, according to the expert.
Nowadays, they don't have any another agenda rather than human rights issue and the democratization. If they are trying to bring such kind of democracy in the region, we should show such kind of democracy in the Washington. At the same time, we are not looking such kind of democratized institution in that country. Still, if they are pursuing to bring such kind of institution in the Horn of Africa, the only way is empowering the government, and building the institution will be the right solution for having a democratized country. So the concept of democratization now, it is very complex and vague ideas.
Regional and continental institutions should work aggressively by repeating African status at the global level by way of rectifying irregularities.
The U.S. is also focusing on hidden conflicts against jihad.
Recently, over 13 superpowers have established a military base in Djibouti, ostensibly to help maintain peace, but actually to secure their national interests.
That may need to stay fighting.
It's difficult to transform Ethiopian economy without meaningfully transforming the agriculture sector, says a senior economist. Engaging the private agri-sector actors in Ethiopian agriculture can boost up productivity, employment, and help attract foreign direct investment, he suggested. Sintayo Tamrat has sat with the economist and come up with the following report.
Agriculture remains the backbone of Ethiopia's economy, just contributing to about 40% of the GDP of the country. But given the drought in different parts of the country, climate change, as well as the instabilities in different parts of the country, the price hike, the global price hike in food items, agricultural inputs as well, and other challenges you have just mentioned so far, how can the sector continue at least contributing to the GDP?
Without agricultural transformation, as I've told you, you cannot transform the Ethiopian economy. It's very difficult. You know why? It employs about 80%. By the way, that is the biggest thing, you know, because we emphasize on the people, on individuals, not only the GDP. GDP, by the way, shows both the poor, the least earner, and the largest earner, we are together, and the tail, that is the Ethiopian economy. When it comes to employment, but that it goes to every household. Therefore, it employs about 80% of our people. So as you said, without transforming this sector, it is unthinkable to transform our economy. I don't think that reducing the share of or increasing the share of agriculture is not a big deal in Ethiopian economy. The biggest deal is it can expand, you can increase the productivity and the production of the agriculture. But the major issue here is the service sector, industry sector. Even there should be a strong link between this manufacturing, service, agriculture. Unless the agriculture by itself, if you want to increase the agriculture, to increase or to improve the food security of the country, letting alone or leaving the manufacturing service sector, it's unthinkable. All should be linked. All needs attention.
And now let's move on to the increasing engagement of the private sector in the Ethiopian agriculture sector. And what is your evaluation of the trend in Ethiopia so far?
There is also concern like PPP, public-private partnership. They are trying to undertake investments like this, a share between the government and the private. Therefore, I'm sure this sector, if it is supported like this, and those bureaucracies in the investment commission and the regional investment land issues are settled, it can really reduce the unemployed rate we have. Even it can slash in few years. That agricultural surplus will be input for the industrial sector or the manufacturing sector. That's actually happening. For example, if you go to Eastern Industry Zone in Dukam, they are utilizing more than 50% of their inputs, their raw material is actually from the agriculture sector. They are utilizing that one. Therefore, once you boom, once you increase the productivity of the agriculture sector, it can increase one thing by itself. It can employ the individuals or citizens unemployed, and it can also encourage the private investment. Even it can attract FDI for indirect investment. Therefore, there are many blessings that come through increasing the productivity of the agricultural sector.
The Ethiopian Disaster Risk Management Commission announced on Tuesday that more than 2 billion birr has been provided to over 17 million people displaced by war and drought. The Commission's head of public relations, Debebe Zaude, told ABC Cyber Media that as of May 9, 2022, more than 2 billion birr in cash and food aid has been provided to over 17 million people displaced by war and drought in Afar, Amhara, Oromia, SN, NPR, and Somali regions. In addition to the cash, over 1.2 metric tons of food has been delivered to internally displaced people, Debebe said. The head further added that 11.6 million in Amhara, 46,000 in Afar, 3.2 million in Oromia, and 1.7 million in the Somali region were provided with the support by the World Food Programme, the World Bank, and the Ethiopian Disaster Risk Management Commission. He expressed that the ongoing support in various parts of the country will continue to be strengthened. Welcome back, and you are watching ETV News. Over 120 million birr was secured from foreign and local tourists who visit tourist sites in Gamo Zone, southern Ethiopia People's State, during the last 9 months. According to Gamo Zone Culture and Tourism Department, expansion of tourist destinations, infrastructure development, and increasing number of service facilities were carried out to promote the sites globally. Jerusalem has the details.
Gamo is found in southwestern Ethiopia as one of the 14 zones and 4 special districts of the southern nationalities and people region. According to the Gamo Zone Culture and Tourism Department, more than 208,000 domestic and foreign visitors are visited the Gamo Zone and secured 120 million birr over the last 9 months.
About 203,000 domestic and over 5,000 foreign tourists have visited the Gamo Zone, and we have secured over 120 million and 62,000 birr over the last 9 months.
As Mama added, following to the national call to the diaspora, domestic visitors are increasing, and the Zonal Culture and Tourism Department is also undertaking different activities to expand tourist destinations and more favorable for visitors.
We have been working aggressively in infrastructure development to increasing number of service facilities as well as activities carried out to promote the sites, among others, contributing to the growth in the revenue and the increase in the number of tourists.
Nech Sarmez National Park, Lake Abia, Lake Chamo, Dorze Village, Crocodile Ranch, the famous 40 Springs of Arba Minch, among others, are some of the sites visited by the tourists.
It's really astonishing how beautiful and all the forest is.
The 75th World Health Assembly officially kicked off in Geneva, Switzerland on Monday. It is the first in-person health assembly since the start of COVID-19 pandemic. The theme of this year's assembly is Peace for Health and Health for Peace. The assembly will make a series of strategic consultations and discussions on current and future priorities for public health issues and global importance. The Ethiopian delegation led by Dr. Lia Tadesse, Minister of Health, is taking part on this important global platform as a member state. Ethiopia has managed to earn over $458 million from the export of mining products during the first 9 months of the fiscal year. While presenting its performance report to the Legislative Assembly here today, the Ministry of Mines, however, disclosed that the nation's mining industry remains untapped given its potential. Alula Taglamariam has the rest of the story. Take a look.
Ethiopia's mining industry remains to be untapped, according to the report that made it today to the floor of the 547-seat parliament. As the major stakeholder, the Ministry of Mines further told parliamentarians that efforts are underway to exploit the huge potential in the industry in a way that stimulates the economy. Ethiopia has thus some remarkable achievements, making $458 million from the export trade of mining in the last 9 months alone. The ministry pledged to maximize efforts and transform the sector.
The participation of local and foreign investors in the mining industry has seen a dramatic rise. We are receiving countless requests from international investors in this regard. This signals a splendid opportunity to Ethiopia. The mining industry paves the way for creating ample job opportunities when private actors have greater share in the field. It also helps generate more foreign currency. Accordingly, we are striving to exploit it in a way that modernizes the system.
However, Takala made it clear that the conflict in Ethiopia negatively impacted the industry.
A lot of companies have opted to flee or terminate operations due to security reasons. But now we are cooperatively working with all stakeholders at regional and federal levels to address the problem once and for all. Consequently, things are getting improved in some areas.
Ethiopian Deputy Head of Mission in China, Ambassador Dewano Khadr, held a virtual discussion with Yan Jian, Executive Director and General Manager of Southwest Pharmaceutical, which is one of the top 100 pharmaceutical companies in China, on ways in which the company can invest in Ethiopia. Noting that the government of Ethiopia has made the pharmaceutical industry development one of its top priorities, the Deputy Head of Mission highlighted on the favorable market opportunities and on the special designated locations for foreign companies that are interested to invest in the sector. He also called on the company to make a pre-investment visit to further explore the country's market opportunities and reassure them that the embassy will provide all the necessary assistance. Yajian, on his part, thanked the Deputy Head of Mission for the elaborated explanation provided to him and promised that he will lead a delegation from his company and make the pre-investment visit to Ethiopia. Well, next up is Forex update. Let's have a look. Anti-coup protests continue in Khartoum and Omdurman. Thousands of protesters took to the streets of the Sudanese capital, Khartoum, and its twin city of Omdurman on Monday to denounce the October military coup that plunged the country into further turmoil. Arurat Kalamari has more from Africa News.
Sudan has been politically paralyzed since the coup, with new daily street protests. The latest demonstration is another in a long string of protests following the coup, which derailed the country's transition to democratic rule.
We will keep taking to the streets until we have a full civilian government. There will be no power sharing, no compromise, no legitimacy to this coup that is seeking support from the people. They'll never get it.
Riot police fired tear gas at protesters in Omterman, while confrontations took place between the security forces and protesters in some neighborhoods. Protesters carried flags, banged instruments, and chanted slogans while marching on the city's streets. On Saturday, a 20-year-old protester was allegedly killed by a cartridge weapon the security forces used against the protesters near the house of the former Prime Minister Ismail al-Azhari in Omdurman.
The COP authority and the military leaders seems to have another opinion about finishing this problem, and they are determined to continue killing and bloodshedding of the Sudanese peaceful protesters.
Authorities have launched a major crackdown on protesters in the past. Both live ammunition and tear gas have been used on crowds, and the country's internet and mobile signal has been knocked offline. All the effort is to keep people from gathering.
The FIFA World Cup trophy arrived in Addis Ababa today as part of a tour of various countries sponsored by Coca-Cola. President Sahle Zode expressed during the reception ceremony that football can be a very strong tool.
The original FIFA World Cup trophy and everything it symbolizes will remain in our memories and etched in our hearts forever. But until then, there is more than we should be doing. Football can be a very strong tool in bringing people together, to work for the same goal, to abide by the rules of the game, and show respect to one another, to learn how to share space. It has a strong unifying power. Sport, and precisely football, can bridge divides. It can be a good tool to national unity and coherence. We need to work more than ever before on what unites us as a nation. Ethiopia has a big potential and many talents that need rapid development, especially at the grassroots levels, to open doors of opportunities to our young boys and girls and men and women.
The trophy has been brought to Ethiopia by former right-back of Chelsea and Barcelona, Giuliano Bellotti. Culture and Sport Minister Kajela Merdasa, along with other senior government officials, has received the trophy upon its arrival at Bode International Airport. The trophy will be on display to the general public as of tomorrow, May 25, 2022, at Mescal Square in the capital. FIFA World Cup 2022 is scheduled to take place in Qatar from 21 November to 18 December.